Hello, lovely people. Well, I found another gem in the archives of the voice recorder on my phone, and I'm really excited to share this one with you. It is about the law of conscious choice, and I have, since recording this, published a corresponding article on my blog about it, about how you can use the law of conscious choice to end the runner-chaser dynamic with your twin flame or anything that is keeping you stuck or blocked in your life. So listen to the video and check the description for a bunch of valuable resources. Enjoy! Hello, lovely people, and welcome to my channel. I'm Stephanie, and this is Evolved Chit. It's my little corner of the world where I like to talk about spirituality, metaphysical stuff, universal laws, and psychology. So in this video, I want to talk about a topic that actually came up in a YouTube video that just started auto-playing after I was listening to another podcast. And it was something on a Neville Goddard channel. Now, I don't think it was Neville Goddard, and I don't think it was one of Neville Goddard's teachings, but the content was really good, and it got me doing a little bit of research. And as I was digging into it, I thought this could be another great example to illustrate for people who follow my channel and my clients on how to get into soul, how to be in soul. So if you're in the Twin Flames community, you've probably heard that phrase, and you've heard it on some of the YouTube channels and coaches when people say, how do you get into union with your twin flame? Just get into soul, be in soul, guys. So that's what I want to talk about today, is this law of conscious choice. And I didn't even know that was a law, and I don't think it is, but after I did some research on it, but I think that the foundation and the definition of this, whether it's a law or not, is really powerful and probably something most people in the spiritual community can get behind. So, but before I jump into today's topic, if you are new here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. It's lovely to have you. And you know the drill. Hit the thumbs up button and like this video. Subscribe to my channel by hitting the bell to get notifications. And if you have questions, comments, ideas for future blog articles or videos, I'd love to hear it. So please put them in the comment section of this video, and if I can provide a meaningful response, I'm happy to do so. Okay, so what is this law of conscious choice? So what if I told you that there is something that you could do that would absolutely shift how you walk through your day and what you're experiencing in your life? And that is this law of conscious choice. So I want to talk about how you can use this to reclaim your power as the creator of your reality. So if you're on a twin flames journey, I believe that we have experienced this because it's a wake-up call for us. It is intended to show us where we are out of alignment with our higher self. The twin flame is the bridge between who we are now and our ascension path, like who we're stepping into and what we're transcending from. So perhaps you realize it too, and you've realized that you are on autopilot. I know that was my experience, and you've come to the conclusion maybe that you are reacting to life and you're not consciously creating it. Maybe you're saying yes when you really want to say no. Perhaps you're going along with something because it's easy or familiar, but not necessarily because it's aligned for you. And that moment, like now that you know this, that moment that you realized it, that's your consciousness activating. That is the be in soul, get in soul. And that is also the law of conscious choice, inviting you to wake up. So the core idea of the law of conscious choice is that you are always choosing, but are you choosing consciously? So we create with every thought, every belief, every reaction, but most of us are doing it unconsciously and on repeat. And that is based on our past trauma, our wounds, our conditioning. It could be fear-based states that we're operating out of that have us choosing that way. But the law of conscious choice reminds us that you get to interrupt the pattern, that you get to respond instead of react, and that you get to reclaim your power to create your reality. And now this isn't anything new. It's been around in different schools of thought for a while. So the ancient philosopher Socrates taught us that the unexamined life is not worth living. Neville Goddard, who, air quotes, Neville Goddard, inspired this video, he said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And Neville Goddard, if you're not familiar with him, was a spiritual teacher and really wrapped up in all of the manifestation and law of assumption community content that you find out on social media and on YouTube. And You may have heard a quote of his that is, feel it real. And then another spiritual teacher like Neville Goddard, Florence Scovel Shinn, she has a couple of quotes that I love. Your word is your wand. So meaning that what you're saying is what you're, putting out there, your intention, your affirmation, and it magnetizes in accordingly. And also another quote that I love that she said, and I'll paraphrase this, is that you must make your own affirmations and not accept the affirmations of others. And even Abraham Hicks is in on all of this. And Abraham Hicks teaches us that the universe is responding to the vibration that you're emitting. So what connects all of these? Choice is what connects everything. And choice is not just about an action. It is a choice of thought, a choice of emotion, a choice of vibration, a choice of your identity. And this is why your self-concept is absolutely vital. So I do have a little exercise I want to share with you that you can do to tap into this. But I want to share with you just a little story about a client I had a coaching session with a few months ago, and then a recent update with her about what's going on in her situation. So a few months ago, I connected with this client for a coaching session, and she was really hung up in all the twin flames narrative and obsessed over it and over analyzing the twin flames situation and everything. And while she was telling me about this, the whole time I'm like, she is wanting this person to change, but really she wants herself to change. And I asked her that question, like, what, you want this person to change, but I really feel like it's you. What is it that you're delaying in your life? And right away, she said it. She said that she's been holding off starting her own business. And we talked about that and what all of that entailed. And I encouraged her to make a choice. Rather than spend her time and energy worrying about this other person and what they're doing or not doing or who they're with or who they're not with, and listening to Twin Flames content and videos, and buying ebooks and expensive coaching sessions, I was like, why don't you just focus on lifting up your business? And so since I have a business background in business planning, we talked about that, and we were able to collaborate and help her develop a quick lift-off plan to get through some tasks that she needed to get done that were holding her back. So that was the approach. And then I did hear from her about a week or so later, and she filled me in that she was making really great progress and feeling very good about it all, and that her twin flame kept popping in and out of her life. So I was like, just take that as affirmation that you're balancing your energy. So you don't need to worry about what they're doing. Take a, pause. You don't have to respond every time that they text you or that they want something from you. Give yourself a moment to consciously choose how you're showing up in that situation. So rather than she go down the rabbit hole of questioning, what does this mean? Oh, they must be ready, or, putting a narrative around it. I'm like, just see it for what it is. It's a text message, and they're asking you how you're doing. And you can choose to respond, or you can choose to respond later. So I encouraged her not to respond right away, because sometimes that is like a fear-based response that we have to act on something as soon as possible. But, I didn't hear from her for a little bit, and then I heard from her again more recently, like a couple weeks ago, and she told me that she's doing well with her business and even has a couple of clients, and that the twin flame dance is still happening, and that they are getting together and doing things, but she feels like she has, greater clarity and more control over this whole situation. So as simple as that choice to no longer put the projected energy into that dynamic, and instead taking the energy in a more directed approach and putting it into her own interests and efforts, has changed a lot of things for her in a very short period of time. So I just wanted to share with you how consciously choosing, can really make a big difference. And she's very happy with how the dynamic is evolving with that person. So when you're not choosing to show up consciously, that's still a choice. And she chose in that moment to, rather than living out of like her fear-based stuff and fear-based projections, that she was going to continue to work on lifting herself up. That was a conscious choice. So she stopped avoiding those decisions. She decided not to stay in a cycle that she had outgrown with her past job and even the relationship dynamic at the time with her twin flame. And she decided to choose her own worth and her path. So she moved herself out of default mode and into creator mode. And that all happened when she decided that the way things were going were just not working for her anymore, and that it was becoming more painful and challenging and stressful to live in that way than it was to pursue her interests. And even though it's still effort and work, it's worthwhile effort and work. And that conscious choice is opening her up to possibilities, and it feels more aligned for her. So more in alignment with her, air quotes, mission. So when you do this, you can flip the script. And now you're living a more soul-led life rather than one out of survival mode. Again, this is the be in soul, get in soul stuff. And I know we want it all to be really magical, like something's going to ascend, we're going to ascend into the sky, or, we're all golden and divine feminines, or whatever imagery that you have out there. While the spirituality and metaphysical stuff is really cool and compelling, and trust me, I've had enough experiences with these things to know, like, wait a second, is that real? Like, some of this stuff is just amazing to me, but none of that really matters. What it's showing you is how powerful you really are as an energy alchemist, as a creator of your reality. So I have a little thought and energy experiment for you to try, and I will put the steps to this in the description. And I'm also working on a corresponding blog article for this. So when that's available, I'll put it in one of my community posts. But I've been practicing this with a couple things in my life, been diligently writing it down. If there's something I want to accomplish or a challenge, I write down what it is, and then I choose how I'm showing up in that moment. So I'm dealing with something challenging at work, so I want to make sure I'm staying true to my vibe, and that I'm, being fair and diplomatic, because that's how I always want to show up. But then on the flip side, I'm also working on a fitness goal. So just to show you some other examples of how you can use this, and not necessarily just with your twin flame or a romantic interest. So you can choose a situation or a moment in your day, and then you can ask yourself, what kind of energy are you bringing into that situation? What kind of energy are you choosing right now? I've even done this, with people at a receptionist desk. When you go to the doctor or the dentist or something like that, like, how am I showing up? Because those people are really dealing with a lot of volume of people and probably a little weary and, getting everyone's energy. So I'm like, no, I want to show up and I want to be a good customer, and, I'm going to have fun, and, I want a good experience for them, not just for me too. So just using that as an example, you can use this for everything in your life. So you're going to pick that moment, you're going to choose your energy, and take responsibility for it, and then you embody it, and you will walk through that moment and that experience and that energy, and then observe and see what is mirrored back to you and what happens. So one thing that I did with this, when I was first exploring all of the Neville Goddard content, law of assumption, manifestation, this was probably back in, I want to say 2019, 2020. And one channel that I was following, they had suggested that you do this cup of coffee technique. And so I was playing around with a couple of things, and I had a couple of manifestations that I wanted to see happen. One was the ladder technique, which is a Neville Goddard story. But the other is that I had people always call me and tell me I'm an angel. And because I wanted to do something that was kind of out there and distinct, but at the same time not outside of the realm of possibilities. I think we've all been called an angel before for doing something, right, or helping someone. And then also my second affirmation was that people love buying me drinks. And so maybe it was later that week, after I had declared those affirmations, those manifestations, I went out to dinner with a friend at a local bar, and we were just sitting at the bar and having drinks and listening to the jukebox, and I was talking to someone sitting next to me from the neighborhood. And I've seen this person before, but I didn't know who they are by name or what have you. But we were chatting, and I guess I amused him because he was like, I want to buy this angel a drink. Well, I just about fell off my bar stool. And Like, oh my God. And then he said, what are you drinking? Coffee? And that, oh my God, I almost lost my mind. And my friend's looking at me because I'm having this reaction to it. And they're like, are you okay? And then I told them later, like, why I was responding to that. And it was really funny. So was it a coincidence? I don't know. But the fact that he said, I want to buy this angel a drink, and then asked me if I was drinking coffee. So that was what was in my manifestation journal that week. So I want to encourage you to try this out. If anything, it shows you where your thoughts and your energy are every day. And when you're on autopilot, we forget and we get into these modes, these grooves, and we're just, going through the motions. So you can use this as an opportunity to see where your energy's at and determine if it's in alignment with how you want to be showing up in the world and how you want the world to show up for you. So why does this work? When you choose consciously, you interrupt your old vibration and you're broadcasting a new signal. So you're no longer, living in those echoes of your past, and you're actually becoming your future self. And the world around you, it starts to respond to that new you that you're creating. And there's nothing magical about it. It's just your personal resonance, your vibration, your frequency. And that's why it works. And especially if you're on a twin flame path, this is really important because you are not waiting on your twin flame, even though it may feel that way. You're waiting on yourself. You're waiting on yourself to make a different choice. You're waiting on yourself to choose you, which could mean all sorts of things. Maybe it means some personal healing instead of fixation. Maybe you are, so outward focused that you're not looking inward, and this is showing you it's time for you to choose that inner union. And it's time for you to choose to be the love that you seek and not chasing the lack that you are experiencing. That's what this twin flames journey is showing you. And again, you are the one that you are waiting on. You're not waiting on anyone else. And this twin flames experience is that bridge. It's bridging you from where you are today to the next step in your ascension path. So this is just a reminder that you are the operant power in your life. You are not powerless. You are not a victim of your circumstance. You are the operant power. You get to choose your state. You get to choose your meaning. You get to choose how you're showing up, how you're responding, and how you are evolving. And as much as I wanted there to be an ebook, and as wonderful as Leora's ebook is, as much as I wanted there to be a course, even though I did things through the Personal Development School, and I did buy a couple of Twin Flames courses when I was researching all of this, and other things that I tried and checked out. And I've heard from other people, and one client I was coaching, she even purchased a Reiki course to help her get into union with her twin flame. So no coach, no course, no Reiki course, no candle is going to do this for you. It's on to you. It's only you that can actually make this happen. And it all starts with a conscious choice. So I want you to check out that thought and energy experiment and see what shows up. And I would love to hear from you what your experience is. Because remember, you are not here to repeat the old stories. You are here to write new ones. And it all begins with a conscious choice. So I hope this video was helpful and it gave you another perspective on energy management, getting into soul, and all that other good stuff. And if you need a little bit of help along the way, I do offer coaching sessions and would love to connect with you. So visit my website, evolvedchit.com, and go to the Get Started page. And I have a free ebook out there too about developing your self-concept. And that's where all of this begins. So make that conscious choice, download that free ebook, and start to develop your self-concept. Do the thought experiment and see what starts to come into your life and what kind of shifts are happening. And this is just a reminder that you are loved, you are amazing, you are awesome, you are necessary, and you are really freaking needed right now. So step into your power. And until next time, I'm sending you lots of love and good vibes for your journey.